in for episode 9. It's Bree.
It's Lonnie.
It's Nelly.
And we are back for our second episode of our series, When I Grow Up. And today we're chatting family structure and children's and all that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do y'all even want children?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, not right now, but yeah.
Right.
Okay, so let's start off with what's y'all timeline right now? Like, if you were to give me a timeline for marriage, kids, whatever, what does that look like?
I don't know, because I'm 25.
I'm not trying to, I will say this, I'm not trying to be no old mom.
What's the old mom?
I don't want to be 45 with a kid in elementary school. Like, I don't really want that.
So where does that put you? I'm trying to think, because like 45 with a kid in elementary, what age do you get out of elementary school? Like 12?
Like, elementary school is like first grade, second grade. Is that
so like up until 12? Like, you're saying in elementary school, period. Like, by the time you're 45, they need to be in middle school.
Yeah, I could say that. I think that's safe to say maybe.
So I think that puts you at like
32,
33-ish.
That's when I gotta stop having kids. I mean, not gotta, but like that's my cap.
I think.
Yeah, if you don't want no kids in elementary school.
Well, yeah, if you have a child at 35, then when you're 45, they'd only be 10.
Oh, right.
So
Okay, I have a child at 35 though. So let's move it up.
So like 35 is your hard stop.
Yeah, like I feel like
and science is on our side in terms of late pregnancies. I mean, it can't do everything, but it's on our side.
And this is solely flesh talking. Who knows what the Lord has planned? I am not stopping His plans because I am incapable. But if the Lord were to consult me about it, that is what I would like.
Yeah.
35. Okay, so kids, stop at 35. When's the wedding?
Oh, baby, before I even start having a kid. So the wedding I would love for the wedding to be between 27 and 29. But suggesting I'm about to turn 25, it's not looking up, you know?
Would you have a long engagement though?
It depends. It really depends on the situation. I always thought that I would have a long engagement, and I still like to say that I want to have at least a 2-year engagement, or like not 2-year engagement, but a year engagement.
2 years.
But like, it just depends. Like, if it's somebody I've known or something, and I feel like, you know, we dated long enough and you propose and we could do it, and I feel like I'd still do a year though.
What's too long of an engagement? For both. That's a question for both of you. Like, how long can you be a fiance before you, like, pick a date?
A year and a half. Like, I don't think I'm making it 2 years of it being a fiance.
Okay, so wait. When we talking about like a long engagement, are we talking about like just fiance and no date, or fiance and a date, or like we know when we're getting married? Because if we know when we're getting married, but you know finances really isn't right there, or certain situation, then that changes my answer.
Is there a deposit down on the date? Because
my thing is, I don't feel like you should be proposing to me unless we have the feasibility to get married within a year and a half. Like, let's just hold off. But like, I
I disagree with that.
I mean, I agree and disagree, but also there are certain situations where, you know, he may think that, okay, I feel like we're in the right place for me to propose and us to get engaged, and then something may happen and we're like, okay, we have to put the wedding on hold for a little bit. We still gonna be engaged, but we have to put the wedding on hold.
Because in that case, I'm just going to the courthouse then. Ain't no need to like.
I feel like for me, so, like, the only reason you don't have to have all the money for the wedding is like you're just trying to show me that you're ready for that next step in the relationship, and then that opens it up for a bigger conversation. Because I feel like some men feel like either our traditional, her dad's gonna pay for the wedding. Some people are like, I gotta have all the money for the wedding right now.
Yeah, I'm not saying
like I think I'm saying
in a year and a half. If you don't expect you can have it in a year and a half, then don't even like get my hopes up. Like,
I'll push it to 2 years.
Like, I'm just like, why are you proposing if you don't feel like in a year and a half we're gonna be having our wedding?
But it's just like, so it's the money thing. Like, they have to have. But that's what I'm asking. Like,
we have to have the stability.
Okay.
I mean, aside from, of course, like relationship and, you know, connection and whatever, we have to have the stability to say, we can take the next step towards marriage. We can get a house, a place together. We can, afford a wedding, or we going to the courthouse. Like, I mean, we need to decide. Yeah, I am absolutely okay with a courthouse wedding and doing a reception or something later, or just doing a big trip.
The idea of a trip is great, but ain't no way I'm going to the courthouse.
I'm fine going to the courthouse. And I only say it because, like, you can make it what you want. My cousin just did a courthouse wedding. It was beautiful. And it was no expenses. Like, it was outside. They had, like, the little arch situation. She had all the family dress up, and it was a outside ceremony with seats and stuff like that. But it was a courthouse
wedding. That's not
wedding.
A courthouse wedding.
It was a courthouse.
When most people have if it is at the courthouse, that's one thing. But like most people, a courthouse wedding is literally them two and a witness, and then, like people don't do. When I think of courthouse wedding, that's what I think, and I think you just got a white dress from Forever 21. And
no, that's what I'm saying. People can make it.
No.
People can make it. More than just a courthouse wedding these days.
Yeah, I always just I imagined my wedding like 200 guests, like dress changes, and I think now that I'm older, it's shifting a little bit. Like I could see myself having a destination wedding now. I don't think that there's any way around me having less than 150, 200 guests. Like if everybody that is in my village actually comes and his village, we're just not getting around that. That's just the reality. But yeah, I don't know. It's shifting a little bit, but courthouse ain't no way. Yeah. I will say no to the engagement before I go to the courthouse.
Yeah.
I'm a simple gal.
It's a no for me. It's a no for me. But I guess back to the question. Kids.
Was that the question?
The timeline. No, the question is the timeline.
Yeah, like the timeline.
So your marriage is 27 to 29 realistically. So you get 6 years of enjoying your husband-ish before you start having kids, or no? Because 35 is a stop.
Yeah,
okay.
We can start.
So, immediately.
Yeah.
Oh no, I can't start immediately after. But
no.
Let's hear the timeline.
No. Because I feel like that time that we wanted to ourselves. I mean, I guess you do want a little time as officially married, but because I'm having such a long engagement and all of that adds up, and I just feel like you give us a couple months of being a married couple, and then I'm like, okay, here come the kiddos.
It's a no for me.
All right, Mommy, what's your timeline?
I think for me, I would like to be married, my last age is 30.
Okay.
To be married by 30. I would even push kids to 36, 37. Wow. Only because my mom had me at 38, 39, so it's not abnormal for me. And also I feel like I want to enjoy my life without kids first, and make sure that I'm enjoying my husband and enjoying my now extended family after I get married and things like that, before I actually settle down and have kids. So yeah, I want to be married by 30 ideally. 25 now, so that's a quick turnaround. 5 years.
I mean, some people meet somebody, get engaged and get married in 2 years.
But I know myself.
But I think for me, I don't want to date for a long period of time before I get engaged. I feel like for me, the most I would probably give is 3.5 years.
Oh, that's a good amount of time. I thought you were about to be a year.
Yeah,
No. Absolutely
we need some dating time.
Absolutely not. But I will give myself 3.5 years before I feel that I would be ready to be engaged.
Okay. My timeline, child. Engaged by 25. So that gives me 2 more years. That honestly, seriously though, by the time I'm 25, what year is that? That'll be 2000 and I can't do math right now. 2024. Me and him will have been together for a long time.
Y'all can be life partners at that point.
8 years, 8 or 9 years.
That's
by
a
then.
long time.
Yeah. So engaged by 25.
Yeah.
I don't. necessarily want a super long engagement. Like at least a year. I feel like that's pretty normal. So like 26 and a half, 27 married. Kids like 28, 20, 29, 30. Honestly, I'm trying to enjoy my marriage. I feel like there's just like things that we want to do, like buying properties. Like once you get married, that type of stuff is so much easier. Like right now, when you're boyfriend and girlfriend, it's harder. Like that's just the reality, because at the end of the day, I could wake up tomorrow and he could be like, deuces.
Yeah.
Which is scary to think about, but it's true. When you're married, like, you could try to leave me if you want, but we're legally, like, we gotta figure this out legally. So, and kids around 30, I'm just not in a rush.
But you also,
I don't live
your timeline's a little closer.
Yeah, it is. But I don't currently live a kid-friendly lifestyle. And it's not like, oh, I just smoke and drink so much.
Right.
It's like, I go on like a trip a month. Where are my kids supposed to go? And as much as my parents and his parents like, we'll keep them, like, nah.
No.
If I wake up tomorrow and be like, I'm trying to go to Punta Cana for the weekend, that's not happening.
Yeah. And I envision by like, well, I can't say that. I don't envision by 30 that I'm going to be overdoing that. I mean, but because I do it now, it's like, I'm going to have the 10 whole years to get all of that out.
Yeah.
I feel like I'll be ready to be like, okay, 30, let's have some babies.
I can absolutely wait till 30 to have kids. Like, I mean, if it happens now, shout out to the folks who are having kids now and making it happen, but that's just not what I see in my vision. But like you said, if God got a different,
I was gonna say, because life
the Lord slap me tomorrow and be like, "Here's your man. Start working on it." Okay. So, kids. Speaking of kids, how many children do we want? What is the goal there?
2 max.
Really?
2 max.
Yeah.
2
I'd be okay with 1.
I'd be okay with 1 too. So it's crazy because me and Renard were having this conversation like a while back. And he actually wants 2 kids, but 3. So he's basically like 2 kids on purpose, but 1 on accident. So like if we have another kid on accident, it is what it is. But after 3, that's it.
Honestly, I'd be okay with no kids, I think. And I'm just saying that's how I feel currently. I would be okay with being a rich auntie. Like, that lifestyle is very befitting of me. And I think that I could do that. But 1 is cool. 2 is cool. If I have 3, I'm getting my tubes tied. Like, seriously? No, the idea of my children outnumbering me and my husband makes me sick. Like, no. What if first of all, the car is always full. No. Like, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. No. The car is always full. If it's 1 and 1, if I take 1 child and they take 1 child, then there's always 1 left out. And that's why middle children be like that. Seriously. And then if
watch it.
Sticking to, it is always 1 left out. If sticking 2 kids with 1 parent is fine. I can have some alone time. But once you get to 3 kids, 1 adult, that's a lot. Like, who is doing that?
Yeah, my max is 4. I know that I'm going to have a chaotic house, and I feel like I function in chaos. So, I'm prepared. Yeah. Now, I'm tying my tubes as the 4th child. Like, that's just what
it's like 2 max. I may tie my tubes after 2.
I know if I get 1 boy and 1 girl, that's it. That is it. We've had this conversation too. Like, if I have 2 girls or 2 boys, I might try. The idea of 3 kids really is stressful.
The idea of 3 kids in 1 gender is very stressful.
Yeah, so I'm just like, we might just have be 2 girls and 2 boys. Like, it is what it is. But I feel like I have pretty good odds because looking at my parents and then his parents, like. We have pretty good odds of having 1 and 1. That would be the dream.
Crazy, man.
Genes
are so weird.
I'm just a little nervous because like twins and triplets running my family.
No. If I had twins, I'd fall off.
I think if my first pregnancy is twins or anything more, I'm done. I'm not having any more
Yeah,
kids.
because then
I'm
you're
sorry.
chancing twins again.
Yeah.
Because it skipped over my
Then you go
mom,
from
it skipped over my sister.
And I gotta take care of 2
Like,
newborns
no.
at once? No.
That as well. Like, that's scary too. Because then neither parent gets to rest.
Right.
If you have two. Because someone's always
Like,
on
bruh.
duty.
Or even like the 2 under 2 thing. It's just like, I need a break. I need a break. I don't want to be pregnant back to back. I don't.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask y'all that. So, like, how far apart, like, ideally, do y'all want y'all kids?
3 years. I would like at least 3 years.
I'm getting 4. I was going to say 4. I feel like that's good.
Yeah.
So one's going out of college, one's going in,
Right,
one's
yeah.
going in high school, one's
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
out. Like, I like that. And I also don't feel like siblings necessarily like when they're in the same school at the same time. Like, sometimes you just want to be separate. Like, I see you at home, girl.
Right.
Then nobody wants to see you at school. Like, so
But
give
then
your
again,
kids
it's
the
like you
freedom.
got somebody you really actually doing all of life.
I think it depends
hit or
on, like,
miss.
the sibling relationship.
Yeah.
Me and my sister never truly went to the same school. Like, we did, but like we were in separate buildings in
That's
like
the
our
same thing
private
with my
school,
brothers,
and then like otherwise we didn't go to school together, and that didn't make our relationship any less than
Yeah.
what it is now. So it's just like your kids don't have to go to school together to be close. Like, that's some
Yeah.
kids go to school together and hate each other.
I also very much believe in, like, I mean, I know it's probably inconvenient for parents, but like, if one kid thrives more in public school and one kid thrives more in private school, I'm gonna make that split. Like, I'm sorry, if I can afford it, I'm gonna make it. Just because kids aren't, like, your kids aren't the same, and what caters to one may not cater to the other. So wherever you thrive is where you're gonna be, babe.
Yeah, I think for me it's like that 3 to 4 year
Yeah.
age gap. Cause like me and my sister are 8 years apart. Never went to school.
Yeah.
She's like in a whole nother generation than I am. Like, she's in her 30s. I'm
Yeah.
still in my 20s. So I mean, like, we're cool. Like, we're sisters. We hang out, this, that, and the third. But it's just a whole different type of relationship. And I really want my kids to, like, feel like they have somebody, like, as close to them as
Yeah.
possible. You know.
Yeah.
So what would y'all consider, I know we don't have kids yet, but what would you say will be your parenting style? Like, what are...
I'm very
kind of
much
like
so the
those
enforcer.
rules.
I am very much so the I'm about to pop you, like.
But will you have like a good cop, bad cop situation? So like, does your husband have to be the sweet one?
No.
Or like y'all just gonna be two
I feel like I could be both.
Okay.
It's just like whatever I'm giving you in the moment. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, the type of person I am, I feel like I'm going to marry an enforcer. So like, you know.
You can kind of take the back burner on that, because like, it'll be handled.
Because y'all not about to treat me like I'm sweet. Like,
I mean, yeah.
y'all not about to, you know, y'all about to be scared of me too. Like not scared, but like, y'all know how they be trying to get over on the moms. Because dad is like the big, like, I want you to say, I'm gonna go get your mother. Like, I want it to be like that.
That will, that will absolutely happen.
Yeah.
How my
I
household
can
is.
see that for you.
Yeah, like, already very clear. Like, I'm just like, you gonna be so soft. Like, when it come to the kids, you gonna be so soft. And it's just like, I'm just gonna have to be, it's never gonna be go ask your father.
Yeah.
It's gonna be go ask your mother.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna be the same, cause like my mom was like that. Like, she was more so the enforcer. My dad was more of like the nonchalant, like, type of parent. Like, he'll lecture you all day about like how the apple fell from the tree and how you need to do this, that, the third. Like, he'll lecture you all day. So like my mom, on the other hand, like, she'll be the one who enforces the rules, like give you spankings, chase you around the house with the belt, like make you cry, like things like that if you know, cut up. So I think I'll be the enforcer, but I also want to be like the flip side of that kind of parenting style, and like just be open with my kids and like let them know, like, I'm still going to enforce like things around the house and just things in your life in general, but on the flip side, if you really need to come to me about something, like, I'm not going to like be so
Definitely
like
open
you know,
your policy.
yeah.
So what is y'all views on like spankings and whoopings? Like, do you foresee yourself?
The kids get whooped, okay? I mean, because sometimes they just get out of hand.
Nah, yeah. That's not gonna be my first resort, but
Yeah.
Right, of course. Like,
That's
that's
gonna be other times.
I definitely feel like popping, especially at that like terrible 2 age, you will get popped.
It's a plug for me.
Like those, like yeah. But I don't think that I necessarily agree with beating your kids with like a belt.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think that's something I will implement as a parent. Not a parent yet, so they might push me there. But right now, I'm just like, I feel like if I can't get it through with a pop, I don't think that I'd take a physical object and hit my child. Because some people was getting whooped with all types of stuff.
Yeah, switches.
Yeah. And I've got a whooping once in my life, and like, I just don't feel like that made me straighten up. Like, I was the type of child that you could talk to me, and like it really would have like I would have gotten the message. So like in that, I just feel like that was a little overboard for my situation. Like the type of child I am, I really think it does depend on the type of child that you have. But yeah, it was just unnecessary.
My whoopings was unnecessary.
Yeah,
but my brothers, on the other hand, they needed it.
Yeah, I think my child will really have to do something that will piss me off for me to like get a belt and like,
or like not even just piss me off, because if it's pissing me off, it's more so bothering me than it made me like the child.
Yeah.
But if you just really not getting it, I'm not finna keep repeating myself. Like, if you doing something you know, or that's endangering you, or you know you're not supposed to be doing, and it's nothing else that's working at this point, like.
But do y'all feel like if you're physically disciplining your child, that just makes them more sneaky? Do you really feel like that genuinely changes the behavior, or is it just like a consequence?
I think if it's like a once, twice, maybe 3-time thing, I think it'll not necessarily make them straighten up, but realize like, okay, I don't need to be doing this. Like, I need to correct my behavior. But if it's a frequent thing and it's a consistent thing over like small things that can just require a conversation, or even like a small like pluck, like you said, or a pop on the mouth or anything, at that point I don't think it's effective, because at that point you're just doing it just to do it.
Yeah. So I guess it's safe to say we will not be gentle parenting.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I don't have the patience for gentle parenting, and I can admit that. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like I'm truly not ready to have kids right now. My patience is not at a level where I could deal with a toddler 24/7. And which is why I think God has blessed me to not have kids yet, because he knows, like, it's something that I struggle with. Like, my sister owns a daycare, and I'm just like, there's no way I could do this every day. Like, them kids would be beat. Like,
I could never be no teacher of babies. I mean, granted, I am very active in my goddaughter's life, for those who know. And I basically take the mother role when she is with me. And it has taught me a lot of patience. But could I do it 24/7? Absolutely not. Not right now.
Yeah.
Not right now.
That's what I like when I have my brothers, and they're getting older now, so they're like more independent and stuff. But like when I have the presence of children, I'm just like, yeah, I don't foresee this being my life right now. Like I gotta get some time. I still have some growing up to do. I'm still very young. Like I'm not in a rush. I'm just not. And people say like the kids make you grow up, but like I don't want to be in that situation.
Yeah, I also think that there's like a thin line between gentle parenting and like the way I like to put it is like gentle and nurturing. Like there's a very, very thin line. Like a lot of parents are more so on the gentle side where they like baby their kid. Like if they cry over something small, they baby them like, oh, come here, give me a hug. It's okay. But versus nurturing, like I think it's important to let your child know that it's okay to show their emotions, but also like talk to them like they're a human being and let them know like it's okay to cry, but this is how you need to correct it, and this is how you need to deal with it. But I think a lot of the times like that line is just blurred in between gentle and nurturing, and a lot of people think that nurturing is like holding your baby tight and holding your kid tight and giving them hugs and kisses when they do something and when they're upset and when they do something wrong. Like no.
But that gentle parenting fad is like, would you like to pick up that cookie you just dropped?
It's just like, pick up that cookie.
Pick up that cookie!
And you know, it's not even like I gotta yell it. It's like, I'm not asking you. I am telling you. And I can sit here and say, pick up that cookie. Like, it's not.
Or do you want to tell mommy why you threw that cookie on the table?
No.
Pick it up. I don't care. like, because why are you being rude? Now, I will say I love the idea of, all right, can we stop crying? Can you tell mommy how you're feeling or why you're feeling like that? Like, I like getting children to talk. I think that's
addressing
what
emotions and all that.
But, like, no. If I tell you to do something, you need to do it. I'm not asking you because then you feel like you have an option.
Right. Then you feel like I need an answer. No, I need you to do what I'm telling you to do.
Or like the one that pissed me off is like, it was like around Christmas and it was like making your kids say thank you for gifts is like not gentle parenting. You're supposed to say, would you like to thank grandma for this? You better tell my mama thank you. You better tell my mama thank you for I have her.
Right, don't disrespect my mama.
Like, no, we're not doing, like, I feel like people are taking this gentle parenting too far. And I honestly don't feel like the parents really be gentle parenting on an everyday basis. Because there's no way, no human is, like, built for that.
And
they gonna pluck your
I want
nerves.
to point out that the black culture and the white culture are just drastically different. I had an experience recently at a family member's house in North Carolina, and I think one of our family members has a white wife, or something, like somebody had a white wife, and her kids were there. I don't know if it was their kids or her, whatever. And my grandmother said something to her. The girl did not hear her. She leaned forward and said, "What?" And I said, I looked, and my grandmother repeated herself, and she was still like, "What?" And then she looked at her mother and said, "What'd she say?"
You mean excuse me?
I was like this in my seat.
Your behind was like across that room.
What is
happening
right now? Like, they really just don't teach their kids manners as well as they should.
It's like when you in the store and, you know, little white kids just running around the store and they cutting up and saying, "Mommy this, like, mommy that. Oh, it's okay. Little Johnny, come over here. You're not supposed to be over here." So, like, it's
I mean, some, like, I feel for parents when kids be throwing tantrums, and sometimes you just leave them there. Like, give them a minute, I'll grab them in a second. Like, I feel for that. But it's other times where I'm like, you know your kid not supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
Grab your kid. And
You know better.
Like, come on.
And I'm that person in the store that would be like, excuse me.
Get your kids.
Or not even like, just like in general, like, you or your child are not about to brush past me and say, excuse me.
Right.
Like, but sometimes like they be rude themselves. So they're following what they learned. And I will say, for the most part, black children are very well mannered. Like, in general, at least like the thank yous and the please and like just the little things.
It's because we stress it.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot say how many times I have said, "What do you say?" Like, it's, to my God, like, it's just something we stress. And I don't really understand why it's
I think
not
it's slavery.
taught. I think so too. I think it does.
No, like you were, like we had to be so
It's a
proper. Yes,
generational
sir.
thing.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a
And
generational thing.
But it's a good that, I mean, slavery wasn't good, but like it's something good that came from slavery. But that's just like, a black person is not going to let you pass them without saying excuse me, because we were taught to say excuse me, and they weren't, because they just felt like they could do what they want.
Yep. And
Everything be going back to slavery.
everything goes back to those slavery times, and that's the lesson of the day.
It's really about our families.
It's the lesson of
and
the
our
day.
soon-to-be kids.
Our soon-to-be kids, our values, and all of that, respect.
I mean, yeah, but I mean,
Think about it.
since we're talking about rooting back, you know, like, what are some things that you would take from your parents that they've taught you that you would teach your kids, or even things that you wouldn't take from your parents and teach your kids, or like just instill in them in general?
I think mine is just absolutely the open door policy. My mom never sugarcoated anything. And honestly, it was specifically with me, like, she never sugarcoats anything. And so from a little girl, I understood that my aunts were 16 and pregnant, and I was not to do that. I understood that marriage ain't perfect. People have issues, and this happened. I mean, it was just stuff that she would explain to me that I feel like kept me from wondering, and it kept me from not understanding certain things. And some people say you're too young to know, but I don't feel like I feel like once you are able to understand a concept, then you should be taught about that concept.
Yeah,
I like that.
that's a quote. That's the real lesson. Of
So
it.
what aren't you taking?
I'm not taking, and I said this before, I'm not taking the sensitiveness around mental health. That's something that's going to be open door policy too. Like, it's going to be talked about in my household from jump.
Taking is just like, I don't want to say that high expectations, because I don't want to put like pressure on my kids, but just like putting them in positions to be successful. And I mean in terms of like, I had a credit card before I was 18. Like, my credit was building before I was 18. When it came to school, and like just knowing that I had a choice on where I wanted to go, and like just being like pointing them in the right direction, but not pushing them there. Like, I feel like my parents did a good job with me, and that's why I am where I am, because I had the freedom to kind of breathe. Like, we can tell you this, we can't force you to do it. And I feel like some parents are so forceful and like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do this. But I had a little more wiggle room, and that allowed me to make decisions on my own, and then you learn like that too. What I'm not taking is just like the structure. I pray to God, literally, like, it's in my daily prayers that my kids do not have to experience a separated household. Like, that's just not what I want for my kids. I turned out okay, but that's just not what I want for my kids. I want them to experience, I want them to be like, oh my gosh, my daddy loves my mommy so much. Like, this is black love. Like, I want to be able to set that example for my kids. And it's just like, that's the only way you're going to get that really is when it comes from the start. Like, I could, I could marry somebody else years later, but it's not going to be the same as seeing their mom and their dad love each other like that.
I think for me, what I would take is just the idea of having your own and being stable within yourself, regardless of whether you have somebody, regardless of whether you don't have somebody. I think that's really important. Just having like those core like responsibilities for yourself of making sure that you're financially stable, making sure that you have like just your own like things that you can call your own. Because like I mentioned before, like my mom was really big on that. One thing that I wouldn't take is the lack of vulnerability that I've seen like within my family. Because I like, now that I'm 25 and I'm starting to really get into like the weeds of my 20s and like being in like a new relationship and like making friendships and things like that, I have definitely like seen the impact that the lack of vulnerability that I've seen in my family has had on like me and just like my relationships in general. So I wouldn't want my children to think that it's not okay to be vulnerable and not okay to like express love and express like emotions and express anger and frustrations. Just figuring out like different ways of how to properly express those things. But vulnerability is an important thing in order for you to like strive within your relationships and within yourself too. So
that's a good one too. We just gonna pray. Yeah, we are. I mean, I'm sure our parents would want us to be better parents than they were. Like, it's all a learning. Like, from each generation, I think you have to build upon that and like take bits and pieces, but you can't duplicate who your parents were to you because, of course, there's things that bother you. I'm excited to like get to those different stages in life.
Now I can take my time.
Yeah, right. We gonna get there. It's not a race. It's a marathon.
All right, y'all. Well, another one is in the books.
Another one down.
It's been great. And we will see you on the next episode.
Bye.